Hello and welcome to this week's look at Beyond Indicators. Before I begin, I'm just going to read through a brief disclaimer. Please feel free to read along as well. Beyond Trader LLC is strictly a research publishing firm. The information we publish is based on our opinions plus our quantitative models, statistical and financial data, and independent research. This service is not registered with any financial regulatory agency such as the SEC or any other organization or governmental body. For using our platform or our services, you acknowledge that we do not provide personalized recommendations or advice. Alternative asset classes are volatile investments and carry significant risk. Please do your own research before making any financial decisions. Okay, so let's get straight to it and see what's going on with our indicators at the moment. So, at the moment on the Beyond platform, things are looking pretty good. Beyond Vanguard, the daily and the 3-day time frame in particular have been looking much better this week, and that has aligned with the move higher and obviously the breakthrough above the 94,000 range, extending up to 97,500. We've also seen Beyond Atlas staging a considerable drop again this week, and we're going to focus on that a little bit more as we go on. And also Beyond Challenger, it's starting to give some interesting buy signals across the lower time frames. And do note that Challenger, in around about 3 days' time, will be giving out a sell signal. So that's letting you know that there could be some type of decent correction, because the higher the time frame, the more likelihood that the move or the counter move, more likely, it being a reversal indicator, is going to be slightly stronger. So I guess before we move on to Beyond Atlas, I've got one final thing that I'd like to touch upon, and that's the long versus short ratio. So we use this as a contrarian metric, i.e. This is based on global Binance accounts, not whales by any stretch of the imagination, more likely retail. And what we're looking for is moves in the opposite direction in a rather extreme manner. So we can see that the price here has broken out in blue, and we can see that retail have been shorting the move, and very rarely we see this red start to emerge, and that's letting you know that there's an overall short bias in the market. So people are, I guess, for the lack of a better word, they are largely short en masse, rather than there being, some type of normally there's typically a bit of a long bias, because many people want to buy crypto. So when you get this kind of one-way extreme sentiment in terms of what normally happens, it tends to intensify the price move. So the bias into the red zone only happened for a short while. We can see that basically triggered the move up towards the highs. And what we're looking for next week is, if this is going to continue and we see this wholesale short bias in the market, that would be ultra positive for Bitcoin, and that could easily turbocharge it above 100,000 level. However, if this starts to correct back upwards, we could expect the price to meet some type of equilibrium back around the 92,000 level. So sentiment is going to be very important for us next week. So moving on to our flagship indicator, and that's Beyond Atlas, and it's certainly the most interesting factor amongst our quant models at the moment. And we can see that Atlas has absolutely been tanking, and that's been letting us know that all the factors that it tracks, such as volatility and money flow on the blockchain, have been vastly improving because it's an inverted indicator. However, the price hasn't been matching this, and this is leading us to the assumption that there's lots of divergence. So Bitcoin should be much higher if we're seeing this much of a substantial improvement. And the key point going into next week is this green zone. So if you see that the last time during Bitcoin went to 80K and then it recovered towards its all-time high, you can see Atlas reverse from the green zone, and that was some serious bearish divergence going on, because these two should not be tracking together, hence the bearish divergence all unwound and Bitcoin crashed. So what we need to see next week is Beyond Atlas going into the green zone, and the deeper it gets, our back-tested results have shown that that the gains are even stronger. So if we dip into the darker regions of the green, then we can expect to see some really substantial price moves higher. So if we just go into the light green, maybe we can see, 15 to 20% move, and the darker the shade, the larger the percentage gains. And obviously we want to see it sticking there for the greatest amount of times, because the biggest Bitcoin rallies that we've seen have been for these strong dips inside the green zone, and they've stayed there, and they've absolutely turbocharged some moves between 40 and 100%. So this is what we're looking for next week. It's a critical moment for Bitcoin, and it's even more of a reason for you to check out the Beyond platform, and obviously my daily newsletter, where I'm giving some market commentary on what's going on with all our key quant models, and not least Beyond Atlas. So yeah, hope you enjoyed it this week, and I think next week we could be seeing something special from Bitcoin if it starts to really dip inside of the green zone. So yeah, thank you very much, and I will see you again next week.